scripture breakdown class are in Philly for the nation until General Muhammad comes in. Of course, get all your questions together, type them into the chat. We're gonna save them all for you. Double check. Make sure you type your questions in. Try to be as descriptive as possible. You understand? So when we get to your question, make it as clear and concise as it can possibly be, so that the general can just break it down for you. You understand? So like and share the class. Bubba Kashaw. Let everybody know we up. You understand? I know everybody heard about this Travis Scott concert. All these conspiracy theories about how he's exactly having these satanic rituals and whatnot. We're gonna touch on that briefly. You understand? But like and share the class. Type the questions. I'm trying to check and make sure everything's wild. But yeah, man, they talking about there's all these satanic rituals. There's all this different type of symbolism in this concert and on stage and on top of his shirt. They talking about this eight circles of fire going around the stage. 8 people died. It's like it's always some conspiracy theories when it comes to this nonsense. You understand? But everybody's saying it was a satanic ritual. Understand? What a satanic ritual is just like a ceremony that's worshiping Satan or evil powers. You understand? Everybody always focus on these conspiracy theories saying that it's satanic rituals, not even understanding that we do satanic rituals every year. You understand? We just got done doing Halloween. Understand? That's a ceremony to worship the devil. All them jack-o'-lanterns and that nonsense, that comes from a story about a man that was doing a deal with the devil. And of course, over time, over the generations, different cultures adopted it and changed it up to make it seem like it was about kids dressing up as ghosts and demons and goons and goblins. You understand? But even that whole Halloween comes from, a story about a man doing a deal with the devil. That's the satanic ritual. And nobody want to have no type of conspiracy theories about that because it's fun. Understand? Halloween is fun for us. We want to go out, go to parties, and they say all these holidays is about women and children. Honestly, you want to go out and put all the goofy spider webs on your bushes. That's nothing but a woman wanting to do that. And play dress up and play with makeup. That's nothing but a woman and kids. You understand? But that's a satanic ritual that nobody want to talk about. You understand? If you want to talk about it, that's really a ceremony that's worshiping the devil, evil powers. Thanksgiving. That's worshiping the day that these evil powers in America conquered our native Indian men and women. Them are brothers. You understand? That evil power came and made all these treaties with them and broke every single last one of them. You understand? Real quick, we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 16. You understand? Deuteronomy 11 and 16. All of these holidays are satanic. You understand me? They are satanic rituals. They are ceremonies that mean you are worshiping Satan, worshiping devils. You understand? And demons. You understand what we're saying there? None of those days are in the Bible. None of those days are of God. And to be quite frank with you, if it's not of God, then it's of Satan. There is no in between. There is no gray area. There is no free will. Our oppressor, understand, the devil, the actual devil, the real devil, you understand, he told us that there is free will, that you don't got to listen to God. Don't force anything upon your children. That's what they try to tell us. Don't force your beliefs on your kids. Let them go out and choose for their own. When if you don't serve the Most High, you're serving Satan. If it's not of God, then it is of the devil. There's no in between. You understand? We're gonna pull it for you in these scriptures. You understand? That's the same thing for Christmas, same thing for New Year's. Those days are not inside the Bible. Those ceremonies are not inside the Bible. They're not to worship God, so they are to worship Satan. There's no way around it. If you're not serving the Most High, you're serving Satan. So all the ceremonies we have in America, these holidays that we have, is not of God, it's of Satan. Those are satanic rituals. You understand me? We're going to pull Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 16. We got it right here, right? Deuteronomy 11 and 16, it says, take heed to yourselves, that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. Do you understand? It's saying, take heed to yourself, that your heart be not deceived. We can't listen to all these demons and these devils and all these different philosophies that's trying to deceive us. That's the whole true agenda of anything that we think is a conspiracy. We think that the Illuminati is some secret society. How can it be a secret that everybody knows about it? Everybody making all these posts about the Illuminati, Travis Scott's inside of the Illuminati and these satanic rituals. How is it a secret if we all know about it? You understand? It don't make no sense at all whatsoever. All of these agendas, all of these conspiracies, the whole point, the whole meaning behind all of them is to deceive the children of God. You understand? That's why I'm saying take heed to yourselves. Take heed to what information that you bringing inside of your brain, that you bringing inside of your heart. You understand? Everybody got social media, everybody online, and too much information. It makes you hard to really have a focused mind. It makes you hard to really understand what is of God and what is not of God. These religions are very descriptive to the untrained mind. You understand? They are very descriptive, and it makes it seem like it's all so real. All these philosophies, it makes sense to people because people don't know no better. Our people don't know no better. They say we are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. You understand? We are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. We don't know better. Understand? So when we hear these conspiracies, we go right along and listen to them and believe them. You understand? We go right along and believe the conspiracy theories. The real conspiracies is in your face. And the words of General Muhammad, understand, all of the real conspiracy are not a theory. It's right there in your face. Even the word theory, understand, that's a unproven assumption. You making assumptions about things and there's no proof behind it. You understand? We got all these theories, conspiracies. All of them is just to deceive the minds of the children of Israel. Let's say, take heed to yourself, that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods. The turning aside is turning from the path that the Lord gave us to walk on. Turning aside from serving the Most High. You understand? And it says, and ye turn aside and serve other gods. Which means if you're not serving the Most High, you're serving other gods. There's no such thing as free will. That's what the serpent said to Eve inside the garden. He gave her the concept of free will. If you can do whatever it is you want to do, you don't got to listen to God. Just decide for yourself. That whole concept is you really deciding to choose a path of Satan. You to worship Satan. You understand? So you can think as much as you want to think that Travis Scott is doing satanic rituals on stage. That was a sacrifice, but you got to understand that if you're not serving the Most High, you're serving Satan. If you're not keeping these laws inside this Bible, if you're doing Halloween and Thanksgiving and New Year's and Christmas and birthdays and smoking weed and being a homosexual or being promiscuous, being a deadbeat father, being a deadbeat mother, you are serving Satan. None of those things are of God. You understand? Not one of those things are of the Most High. You can't sit here and say that you got free will. It's either serve the Lord or serve Satan. That's what the scripture is saying. Take heed to yourself, that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside.
Appreciate it. All right. Let's get it on, all right? Questions in the room or online? I'll take them now. You got it. This camera is way too low up. Go ahead.
I wanted to know, what is the metaphor behind the dogs licking Lazarus' sores? What's the metaphor behind? What does that mean?
What does it mean, Con? Well, you're absolutely right in that it's a metaphor, without a doubt. And I will explain that metaphor in 1 second, okay? It should be a little higher than that, right?
Sir.
Okay, I got that question first with Lazarus. That's in, I believe, Luke 13, right? Is that right, Sabana?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay, bear with me. I believe we're going to
Okay, it's Luke chapter 16, verse 20.
Okay. You hang on to that, all right? Any other questions? I'll go online.
We have a question in the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 25 through 26.
All right, let me get Sawanau's question first, all right? Tell him where it is, please, Sawanau.
The book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 20. Like to read it?
He'll read it for you, for what it says. Go ahead.
Luke, chapter 16, verse 20. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores.
So this was a very, very important, a pivotal parable that Jesus Christ, our King, gave when he walked the earth, right? And it was a metaphor about the rulership in Israel at that time, right? It was a critique of the rulers of Israel. So this entire thing, this entire parable is a metaphor for the relationship between the poor of Israel, the rich of Israel, and the other nations. You understand? That's this entire parable. Go ahead.
And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table.
So the poor man is this poor man who was at the gate is speaking, of course, about the poor of Israel. And this is a dichotomy that has always went on in our nation, right? The two halves of our nation that constantly fight one another. And that's the poor of Israel and the rich of Israel. Poor blacks and Hispanics and rich blacks and Hispanics. So Lazarus is the poor people, the poor blacks and Hispanics. He is laying at the gate of the rich man who's dressed in purple, who eats good food every day, and who has a big house with a big gate. And we, as the poor, lay outside of his house, hoping that he will help us. And that's the situation that's happening right now in every community of the blacks and Hispanics. That's why we look to celebrities to be our religious leaders. And we look to singers and rappers and actors to guide us, because we look up to them, because we're hoping that some of their riches can fall into our hand. Some of their wealth might rain down on us. So we wait outside of their gate, hoping that they can bless us one day with a little bit of their wealth. So Lazarus is the poor of Israel. The rich man is, of course, the rich of Israel. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores.
Moreover, what happened?
The dogs came.
Moreover, what happened?
The dogs came.
Now, I told you before that this metaphor was about poor blacks and Hispanics, rich blacks and Hispanics. Then who are the dogs? The dogs are the other nations, right? While we as black people or Hispanics, we look up to some celebrity or some rich person, Magic Johnson, give me a few other ones, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, you know, some black person that we just hope one day might show us how to make money the way they did. Random rappers to the young brothers and sisters. Singers back in the day, come on.
I know on social media, everybody was having a debate on whether they would take $1 million or a dinner with Jay-Z.
That's a rough one. I mean, that's some sad, that's a sad thing. We idolize celebrities because they're rich.
Right.
Do you understand? And we're very poor, but they look like us and they come from our neighborhoods. So we're hoping that if we can just get close enough to them, that maybe we could get rich too. Do you understand? That's why Lazarus laid outside of that rich man's gate. But while we're laying there, while we're suffering, the dogs come and lick our wounds. Now, to understand that, you might need to know a little bit about how people would use dogs in the past, right? In the past, before we had the kind of advanced medicine that we have today, just like we have advanced technology, many times if you had a wound and you were on a trip, let's say you went on a hike somewhere or traveled somewhere, people would bring dogs with them, for protection, and also because if you got hurt, a dog could lick your wound, and because of the chemicals in his saliva, it could help your wounds heal up, meaning it could stop the bleeding. Right? There's something, I forget the name of it, in a dog's saliva. I want to say it's coagulation, or it makes the blood coagulate or something, but it stops bleeding. Do you understand? So many times if you got cut, you would know if your dog would lick this wound, the bleeding could stop and it could help stave off infection as well, right? That's the metaphor you have to understand. Well, while we are poor and suffering, waiting for rich black people to show us how we can be like them, our oppressor comes and gives us a little healing, heals our wounds up, makes us feel better. How does our oppressor make us feel better? He gives us enough welfare just to survive, enough Section 8 vouchers just to survive. And what's the main thing he gives us to get through every day? Illegal drugs. Illegal drugs come from our oppressor. They come from him. If you wonder why all those people died at that concert, they died for the same reason they die every day in the Black and Hispanic community. Drugs. Well, our oppressor provides those drugs for you. And how would you get through the ghetto without smoking weed, without popping pills, without alcoholism? Our oppressor, or the dogs, give us enough satisfaction, I'm fine, warrior, enough comfort so we can lay at a rich black man's gate every day and beg him to show us how to get rich. So now we can all look at Jay-Z and just look and just say, Jay-Z, can you please make us like you? Well, while we're waiting, there's plenty of drugs for you to get high on. While you're waiting for Jay-Z to dispense all of his gifts to you, all of his money-making gifts, as if he has any money-making gifts except for rapping. That's his goddamn money-making gift, rapping. But in your mind, he's some, amazing thinker. And so you're waiting for Jay-Z to show you how to get rich. While you're waiting, you get high. Do you understand, Sawana? So who are the dogs? Thank you. Give her a hand. They're the dogs. And they lick our wounds. Right? They give us the basic necessities of life that make you feel better. While you're hoping you can get rich every day. While you're hoping you can become Oprah and you can become Gayle King, you're able to get enough weed and alcohol to be able to, get through your day-to-day life. Go ahead.
What about looking like rappers and celebrities, like wearing their clothes, their style and everything? Is that a way?
Give her a hand, yes. Yes. Wearing their clothes, that rapper is told to wear that. He didn't buy that. He wears it for free. You pay for it. Someone gives it to him and says, wear this, which is why rappers wear dresses now, because some dressmaker is saying, wear this dress. He didn't pay $200,000 for that dress. Right. He paid nothing for that dress. You will pay $200,000 for that dress, right? And it's exactly the same thing. You want to dress like him because in wearing his clothing, you can feel like him for a few seconds. You can feel like Beyonce for a few seconds. And our oppressor provides that for you as well, which is the point I believe you were trying to make, correct? Well, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. They sell you the things that you need, to pretend you're rich, to pretend you're Beyonce and Jay-Z, and that makes you feel better for tonight. Everybody, you understand. Go ahead. Even down to the hair, to that purse, to that pocketbook, to all that mess. So you can pretend and fake as if you're rich, hoping that faking like you're rich will one day lead to you actually being rich. Right? That's you waiting at the gate of the rich person. You understand? When really that rich person is the reason you can't get rich. And that is the mystery of poverty. While you idolize Jay-Z, let me tell you the secret of all secrets. Jay-Z is the reason you can't get rich. Him. He's the reason. Puff Diddy is the reason you will never make it as a rapper. He's the reason. That's how money works. Money doesn't get dispensed to everybody. That's not how it works. It's too valuable a commodity. Once one person gets it all, then they make sure you don't get any. And that is life. Right? If he has, so if Puff Diddy or Jay-Z has a ton of money, if you sign to him as a rapper, let me blow your mind. You know what's going to happen, right? You're getting nothing, right? Because that's how he amasses so much wealth. Not by giving out money. You wouldn't have money if you paid people. You have money by not paying people. You understand? By them working, and you're hoping that one day this record contract is going to make you rich. And you're going to work in the damn Walmart. That's where you're going. And Puff Diddy keeps all your money, or Jay-Z, or whoever the hell you idolize today. All right. I'm just using that because that's from the 90s. I don't know who's popular now. But whoever it is, they're a thief. And if you idolize them, trying to be like them, they are the reason you will never get any money because they hoard the money to themselves. You're going to work for them, sign a record deal with them, and then you'll be on Facebook or YouTube crying about how they owe you money and they never paid you anything. That's how they got rich. Does everybody understand? People get rich by not paying people. Does that make sense to you? It should. It's just math, really. You don't get rich by paying people. You understand? You get rich by not paying people. All right. I think I broke that down as good as I can for you. All right. And if you understand, sis, right? Go ahead. Next.
Oh, God. Question on Daniel chapter 9, verse 25 through 26. Just a general breakdown.
All right.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous time.
And troublous time. This is a metaphor for the time between Christ leaving and Christ returning. That's the metaphor, and I'll explain it to you right now. Right? Give me 1 or 2 verses above it.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 23. At the beginning of thy supplication, the commandment came forth, and I come to shew thee, for thou art greatly beloved.
So Daniel is going to receive a prophecy from the Most High because the Lord loves Daniel. And because he loves him, he's going to answer his supplication. What is the word supplication? His beseeching or his prayer. He's asking the Most High to reveal to him the end. He wants to know when the end will come because he was in suffering like all of us are, waiting for our King to return. But because he was so beloved of the Most High God, the Lord sent an angel to answer his prayer, to answer his request. Continue.
Oh God. Therefore, understand the matter and consider the vision. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression.
70 weeks are determined among thy people and upon thy transgression, meaning 70 weeks is the time that we're going to have to suffer here until our punishment is over. What does 70 weeks represent? Not too long a time, but not a short time either. That's 70 weeks. It's not, 1,000 years, and it's not 7 days or 3 days. 70 weeks, and the word 7 will be peppered all throughout any mention of numbers in the Bible, because 7 just represents a fullness of numbers, meaning how much time do we have left? We have enough time left. Not too much time, but enough time. Does everyone understand? That's all it means. It means nothing else at all. Keep going. Once again, I got 70 weeks is like umpteen or forever or 1,000 other ways that blacks and Hispanics use time. They don't mean a thing. Umpteen is not a real number. You get the point? I've been here. How long have you been waiting? I've been waiting here forever. That's not true. You have not been waiting there forever. I've been waiting forever for you to call me back. You have not been waiting forever for me to call you back. It just feels like forever. Does everyone understand? Which is what numbers are to black people and Hispanics. Numbers are feelings. You understand? And so when we talk about time, we're talking about a feeling, not a written down actual number. Does everyone understand? So 70 weeks is, think about how that feels. That's how you know what 70 weeks is. 70 weeks doesn't feel like 1,000, and it doesn't feel like 7 days. It's like in between. Right. It's enough. It's enough time. Everyone understands, right? Continue.
To finish the transgression and to make an end of sins.
To finish the transgression, which is enough time for us to get finished with our suffering for our punishment, and to make an end of sins, and for us to stop sinning. So this is the time that you and I are in right now. We're in that time currently. What are we doing right now? What we're doing right now is we're suffering because of our crime against God. So we're here going to a slavery every day that we hate, right. Suffering under an oppressor who is not half the man you are. But we're still suffering under him. Idolizing some devil as if she's the picture of beauty on the planet Earth, when she is not half as beautiful as an Israelite woman. Right. But we're here, but we're here to suffer. We're here to suffer. We're here to pay our debt. At the same time, what are we doing? We're cleaning ourselves of our sin. We're learning how to be better people, which is why we have classes. Go ahead, up.
I use it as a precept. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee.
That's absolutely a precept. Give him a hand. The Lord gave us a time to get ourselves together, right? And that's what we're doing. That's why we have class. That's why we come in here every day to teach, to learn how to give up Halloween, to learn how to give up Christmas. It's hard. It's difficult to give up Christmas, to learn how to replace Christmas with the Most High's high holy days, which are far more beneficial, and you have a better time.
Right.
You're absolutely more joyous than any Christmas you would have arguing over the table with your child molester, right. Which is all Christmas is. Right. A dinner with the father you don't never see, the mother who beat you with an extension cord, and the uncle who molested you sitting right across the table, passing him the goddamn candy yams. Of half of you not talking to the other half at the table. There's something you can replace that with. Right. And that's the high holy days of the Most High God. Right. Well, you got to come to class to learn how to do that. And time for you to get off of drugs. Because a lot of you are high as hell, always high. You're a drug addict. You're constantly high because that is what you use to get through your suffering, your pain. The problem is it's not medicine up. You understand? It won't heal you of your issue. All it can do is numb you temporarily, and then you need more of it. So now your oppressor gets rich because you need some way to get numb from the hell you're living in. There is a way to heal it, though. Your pain can be healed, but you got to come to class. You got to transform. Go ahead.
Does smoking marijuana, does that make you more emotional? Because I know it can numb you.
Yeah.
Where you don't feel no emotion. So when you're not high anymore, you become so working.
Yeah.
you tend to be like abusive. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Fight and argue.
Let me take you up one notch. Christ said this: what profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? When you are addicted to a drug, you do not have control of yourself anymore. You are not deciding what you do. The demon is now deciding what you do. So when you, that feeling of being more emotional is the feeling of having no control over yourself. So now you don't have control over your tears, over your hands, over your feet. Where are you going? You're going wherever it tells you to go. You're fighting in a bar. Why? Because it's telling you to fight in a bar. And each time it happens, you're going, I got to get myself together. I don't want to live like this. Then who does want to live like this? You have lost your soul. So if you can get all the money in the world, which a lot of people do, like Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston and her daughter, you can be rich. That money belongs to the drug, not you. That's not your money. Anything you have, you got a car, that's the drug's car. You understand? You're going to lose that car for the drug, for the alcoholism, whatever demon owns you. So yes, that the emotional feeling that people feel is the feeling of having no control over themselves. You understand? Next, Salaki, right here.
You just have a precept. John chapter 8, verse 34. Jesus answered them, verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin.
Perfect precept. Give him a hand. That's exactly what I mean. And any precept where Christ speaks about demonic possession, anyone, that is what demonic possession is in a nutshell. Not only drug addiction, some ailments like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, some forms of depression, and drug addiction. All of those things are when something else controls you. You don't control you. You understand? Go ahead. Come on. Please, we good here or not? I forget who asked the question. Is it online we're talking about?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Our question, we on verse 24, it's question 25 and 26.
Go ahead.
And to make an end of sins, and to make a reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring an everlasting righteousness, to seal up the vision.
I'm sorry, that's why we're here. To make an end of sins, which means what? To stop sinning. What is sin? Sin is the transgression of God's law. Where is that at, officers?
1 John 3.
Thank you. 1 John 3 and 4. Right? That's why we're here, to stop sinning. Keeping the commandments is the whole ball game, Mark. It's the whole thing. You do that, you've done it. If you don't do that, you've done nothing. Keep going.
And to bring an everlasting righteousness.
And to bring, so now, not only do you stop committing sin, but you start doing the right thing. You have to do both, right? That's also where there are three that bear record on earth, heaven and earth, right? The word of God, the spirit, and the son. The spirit is that thing that you do that's right. You stop committing, sin, eating pork, shrimp, crab, prostitutes, drug addiction. You stop those things and you start going to camp. You start standing up for the truth. You start living your life under orders like a priest, or living your life as a princess under the orders of a priest. You start doing that. That's what you add to your life that wasn't there before. The sin is what you take away from your life, which was there before. All right. This is the time that we have to complete this. We're doing it right now. Keep going.
And to seal up the vision and prophecy.
And to seal up the vision and the prophecy. What does seal up mean? To seal it up is like to put a seal on it, meaning to make it happen. What's the vision and the prophecy? Our king returning and our enemies going under our boots.
Right.
Us switching places with our adversary. Us putting into captivity those that had us in captivity. That's the vision. And we have this amount of time to make it happen, which is why we're here, to make it happen. Everyone understands. Anything else?
And to anoint the most holy.
And to anoint the most holy. Everybody gets that. That's what happens each time you become a priest, each time you get raised up, each time a sister comes into the truth, man. To go out and find the most separate and to anoint them. to choose them out of the world, to gather together. Keep going. Go ahead.
Verse 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem.
Stop right there. Know therefore that going forth from the commandment to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Unto the Messiah.
Unto the Messiah, unto the Savior. Keep going.
The prince shall be 7 weeks.
Shall be 7 weeks. He's referring back to when Nehemiah received an order to rebuild the temple. And he's using that to show, as a metaphor, to show us that it takes time to achieve this. Just like it took time with Nehemiah. Nehemiah went back to rebuild that temple. It didn't get built overnight. He had to go back, brother. He had to have brothers standing guard, because as they were trying to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, they received an order from the king at that time, the heathen king that was over them. He gave them permission to go back and build up Jerusalem, to rebuild the walls. But as he's doing it, the moon worshipers who were around at that time were trying to kill them. So they had to have certain men, half of the men had swords on their sides, watching for the moon worshipers to attack. The other half of the men were building the wall with brick and mortar in their hand. Christ is using that as a metaphor to right now. If you want Christ to return, if you want the Messiah to come, if you want to rebuild Jerusalem, it's going to take time, and we're going to have to work, and we're going to have to be prepared to go to war. We're going to have to do it just like Nehemiah. That's the point of all this. I'm just trying to give you the point, all right? Any more?
In 62 weeks, the street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times.
Meaning what? Even though the moon worshipers are trying to kill us, the police are trying to lock us up, the FBI traveling with me all over the damn country all the time. Everyone on the street corner hates us. The criminals hate us, and the drug dealers, and the Proud Boys, and Joe Rogan, and everyone else you can think of, and your mama hates us too. Your mother hates us. Yet we're going to build this wall. In perilous times, we're going to build these streets. We're going to do it. In all that, with all those adversaries and all of that trouble, this job is getting done. I pray you understand that. Keep right to play how I was shot. Keep going.
And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off.
After 63, say it one more time.
And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off.
What is that speaking about? That time when Christ was killed. Christ came back, he was building it, building Jerusalem. He went out and found him first 5,000 men. Put 12 men over top of them. Then the 5,000 men left. Then even one of the 12 left. Then when they took him, everyone was gone. Even Peter betrayed him 3 times before the cock crowed. He was by himself, gone. Everyone else was gone. He died. But then 3 days later, he rose from that tomb, man. Went and saw the disciples to prove that everything he said was true, just like he told them. And then he went to sit on the right hand of the Father. And then those disciples went back to work. Do you understand? They were working while he was here. They were traveling and teaching and building Jerusalem. Then Christ fell. He was dead. And they fell. They lost their faith. They didn't understand what he was saying. And they were broken. And then one day they came back together. And then they went right back to work. That's what this precept is about. He was down for a second. They went right back to work. That work continues until this day. Keep going.
But not for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And the people of the
meaning
prince,
not for himself, meaning what? You understand that now, right? He went to go die for the nation of Israel. Right. Not for himself, but for the nation of Israel. That's why he died. He died keeping the commandment of God so that we all could live in his stead. Keep going.
And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary.
Ooh, and the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the prince and the sanctuary. What is that speaking about? Shall think about it. Shall destroy the prince. This is all Christ given a prophecy. What book is this in? Yeah, Christ spoke about this very precept in the New Testament. He talked about this. If you see the abomination of desolation in Jerusalem, flee. Go ahead. I almost gave it to you. What was your answer?
When it says destroy the city and the sanctuary, speaking about how we come to bring down these kingdoms.
No. You gotta think. Okay, go ahead. That's what it's talking about. Give him a hand. That's what happened after Christ died and rose again. What happened in 70 AD? 70 AD, Jerusalem was sacked by the Roman Empire, wiped out. Who's the prince that got cast out and destroyed? The prince of this world. Precept. Give me that precept. That's what you need. Is when Christ came, when they were dragging Christ off to kill him unrightfully, he told them something. And that prophecy came to pass. When you get it, let me know. Any other questions besides this one? You dying? Go ahead. Let me know if I have questions online, please.
You have a few online. So you want to take one in the room or one online?
Let me get one online. Go ahead, finish up right here.
What did you, John 14:29?
Let's hear it.
And now I have told you before it come to pass, that when it is come to pass, ye might believe. Hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in me.
Not that. Well, that's talking about the same prince, but I want the other one. Go ahead in the back.
I got John 12:31. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out.
That's what you need, whoever asked the question, all right? Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. That's what Christ said when they went to arrest him. He knew that by allowing them to take him, that's how he was going to kick the oppressor out of the seat of rulership. Who is the prince? The oppressor is the prince. Him. The Romans. What's that other bastard's name? Herod. They were the prince. And by Christ dying, they were going to lose their position. Christ, when he got killed that day, he destroyed his enemies, brother. He destroyed his enemies by dying. Read it one more time. Give me some context. Tell everyone what's happening right now. Go ahead.
Shall we up one? Verse 30. Jesus answered and said, this voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now it is the judgment of this world.
Now is the judgment of this world. Now is the judgment of this world. By killing Christ, the judgment of this world was sealed. It was sealed. It was going to happen. Of course, I use sealed on purpose. You understand, right? It was going to happen. Go ahead.
Now shall the prince of this world be cast out.
Who's the prince of this world? Our oppressor is the prince of this world. He's God Almighty. He's who you pray to, who you worship, who you idolize. Him. He's everything to you. Well, now he has to go. Keep going.
Verse 32. And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me.
Once people stop worshiping our oppressor, they'll start worshiping Christ.
Right.
You won't do both. You won't idolize white people every day and serve a black Jesus. You will not do that. It's counter to what your ideology is, to what good is and righteousness and love is. Your ideology is that everything white people do is good. You aspire to be like them. I always laugh at every comedian that says, you go to a white funeral, they're like, bless the dead. The dead has, died. The white person is always proper. You go to a black funeral, hey, pop locking, jumping all around. And every joke I go, that is what you think of your people. Right. You might not remember this if you're young, but there was always a common joke that if there was ever a black president, he wouldn't cut the grass. He would drink Kool-Aid in the White House. It was a common joke. It was like, black president, if a black man became president, he'd never cut the grass. He put a tank on the front lawn and put speakers in Air Force One, and everybody would laugh about that because it was like a joke to think that a black person could ever be president. A black person has still not been president, but in your mind, it's still a joke because you think of yourself as someone who should not be in charge. That's how you think of yourself. You want to test yourself? Who flies on airplanes? Raise your hand. Okay, you fly on an airplane now. This is a good test. You sister, you get on the airplane. The door cracks open a little bit for you to see the pilot. Who do you want to see in there? That's how you test yourself. That's a test. Now I'm not gonna ask you because I know what you're gonna say. But that's all right. All right? That's okay. We've lived here a long time. All right? Maybe not all of you would say that, but just ask yourself who you want to see and who you do not want to see in there flying this plane. You're going to get a lawyer. Visualize the best lawyer that you can find. Don't tell me the answer. Right? Don't tell me the answer. Just have it in your mind. Okay? That happens over 400 years, which means you don't want to see yourself flying the plane. You don't want to see yourself being your own lawyer. You don't want to see you in charge. You don't want that. Okay? That's why we come to class, so you can get a new image of yourself. Everybody understand? All right? I got to wrap this up, though. You get the point. The prince is the devil. All right? The devil is the prince. He's got to go. The temple was destroyed, knocked down, done. Come on. Yeah, there you go. We can't stand Jesus being black. We can't stand God being black. That's correct. All right. Let me go ahead in the back.
I got a question. Verse 32. And it said, and if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. When he said that, was he like reiterating what he said to Nicodemus?
He was referring to what happened in Exodus. Just like he's referring to Nehemiah earlier. He's referring to Daniel. I'm talking in the New Testament I'm speaking about, right? Is that what you're talking about as well, the New Testament? Right. He's referring to Moses. There was a time in Israel where the people were being bitten by snakes. They were out in the wilderness. They had a plague of snake bites, right? And Moses, the Lord told Moses to make a golden snake, to put it on a staff. And he would hold the staff up, and the people had to walk under the staff. And whoever walked under the staff would be healed. So Christ is saying, if I be lifted up from the ground, then everyone will follow me. Everyone will be healed. And of course, then he was nailed on a cross. He was lifted up from the ground. And because he was lifted up from the ground, now the nation of Israel doesn't have to be poor, doesn't have to suffer anymore because of what he did that day. Right. You understand, right? Come on.
Well, this will be the first step.
Go ahead.
John chapter.
See me one more time down, y'all, please. Go ahead.
And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up.
That's your precept. All right, next. Online.
Sir. Okay. Select. I'm going to the general breakdown. Exodus chapter 24, verse 10.
Also, we got to get the Travis Scott killings, right? Halloween, if we didn't do that yet. I'm missing something else. The Kanye West thing. And I think that's it, right? Just so you can take it out on the street this week. You need me? I think that's irrelevant. We just speak on the same thing all the time. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 24, verse 10. And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were, the body of heaven in his clearness.
I'm sorry, let me catch up. This is a question from online.
So you want a general breakdown. Exodus 24, verse 10.
Okay, general breakdown of Exodus 24 and 10, and give me 24 and 9 for a second.
Okay. Verse 9. Then went up Moses and Aaron and Nadab and Abihu and 70 of the elders of Israel. And they saw the God of Israel, and they were under his feet, as it were, a paved work of a sapphire stone. And as it were, the body of heaven in his clearness.
Let me catch up with you for a second. I'm not remembering. Where we at again?
Exodus 24:9.
Check the camera out. Make sure it's all right. Okay. Say it one more time. Exodus what?
24:9. Like the question is intent.
Okay. Let me catch up with you. Exodus 24:9. The question is in 10. Right. All right. Let's go to 10.
Oh, God. Exodus chapter 24, verse 10. And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were a paved work of a sapphire stone.
They saw under his feet as if it were a paved work of sapphire stone. How do I describe this? Imagine like someone who has carved the street out of sapphire stone, right? So like you would carve something out of cobblestone, right, or brick, but this street is carved out of sapphires. You can put sapphires up on the screen if you need to look at it. All right, go ahead.
God. And as it were the body of heaven and his clearness.
And as if it were the body of heaven in its clearness. The body of heaven meaning looking up at a clear sky. That's how clear it was. Keep going.
Verse 11. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel, he laid not his hand.
So meaning the nobles were the 70 elders that went with Moses. But he laid not his hand on those 70 elders, meaning he didn't hurt them. Keep going.
Also, they saw God and did eat and drink.
They ate and drank, though, because they were with Moses. They weren't killed because they were not supposed to be there. They were with Moses. Now, that's important because later on, a lot of these elders did get killed when they rebelled against Moses. But the Most High did not kill them at this time because they were with Moses. They were in order with Moses. Keep going.
Verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, come up to me into the mountain and be there. And I will give thee tables of stone and a law.
So that's after that. That's why Moses left from those elders, went by himself. He took Joshua. Joshua went up from the people, but stayed about halfway up the mountain. He went by himself to the top of the mountain and received the 10 commandments from God, right? With those 10 commandments, he showed them to the people, which was proof that he communicated with God. After that, those 10 commandments gave him the authority to make all of the other commandments, which are about 622. After that, they knew that this man communicated with God. So then now we'll obey the law of Moses because we know that he has authority with God based on those tablets. Everyone understands, right? Was that his question or not?
That was his.
Go ahead.
The next
Question?
Next question on the line. Brother said, general counsel, you give general counsel on a brother with low self-esteem on how to deal with it.
Once again, it's in general. That's something done better in specific, right? In general, if you're a brother that has low self-esteem, first you'd have to prove that you actually have low self-esteem, right? So what you want to do is, what's the proof that you have low self-esteem? How do you know that you have low self-esteem? So you want to, usually it's with men, it's usually something centered around women, right? Some fear of women, some fear of, being able to talk to women, or not being able to let go of a woman who doesn't want you, who commits adultery, and you stay with her over and over again. Most brothers in that case will start to believe that they have a sense of a low self-esteem, right? And if that is the case, then what you want to do is go back to how it started Usually it will center around your mother. Something about your mother, something about your upbringing, or something about your father. Maybe you saw your father weak around women. Maybe you saw your father be belittled by your mother. Maybe you're one of those men whose father, was belittled and every day by a mother's mouth. Talked about your father constantly. Your father just cried and took her back every time she committed adultery. There's 1,000, I'm giving you a few examples because we're in general, right? There's 1,000 different things that can lead to a man having low self-esteem, not having money, right? If you grew up thinking that a man had to have money and a man has to take care of his family, and if a man doesn't have money, he's nothing, then you get laid off. So now you are nothing. You're nothing because you can't buy your daughter a bike. You can't get her birthday gifts, right? And now you believe you're nothing because you don't have a job anymore. And of course, your wife will remind you that you are nothing because you can't buy a birthday gift. And you can't bring any Christmas gifts in here. So you're nothing. So usually it's something about women, either a woman telling you you're nothing because over adultery or her being a whore. And of course, a man with low self-esteem is exactly what a slut needs. She needs you to make her feel like she's anything, above a piece of garbage, which is exactly what she is. But because you have such low self-esteem, you'll make her feel like it's your fault that she's cheating. It's all because of you. And you'll blame yourself, and then you'll give her a wedding ring on one knee to stop her from having sex with other men. Right? It's usually that, or it's something about money. Something about putting all of what you believe manhood is on money. As if anyone who has money is a real man. And anyone who does not have money is not a man. And then, of course, you will feel like you're nothing every time your job cuts your hours. And feeling like you're nothing makes you want to get high. And of course, when you start getting high because you feel like you're nothing, you'll lose your job because now you get high all day. And here we go on and on and on. All right. So I'll give you a general breakdown of why that happens. What do you have to do? Here's the same old answer. That's the answer for everything. Start over. Get yourself a new mother, new father, new brothers, new wives. Get new everything. Start over. That's all. You had some mother. A lot of you mothers are extremely belittling because you don't have self-control. So you belittle a child. My God. I don't know how your children don't just stab you in the head. Because the way you talk to them, how can this child take this? Every day getting talked to like that. I mean, if it's not, the sisters get the same garbage from an evil mother. They get the same thing. Sometimes a lot worse. Sometimes a lot worse because she's competing with the daughter. So now she has to bring down that daughter to prove that she's the real woman in the house. Once the girl has puberty. And a boy, she can do the same thing to you if you look like your father, or if she especially hates your father, or if she especially hates the daughter's father. She has to hurt that child. Hurt him, hurt her. We're talking about men and their low self-esteem right now. So I'll focus on that. So just having a mother that is so that instead of being nurturing is belittling, that will lead to low self-esteem every time. Because this is the woman that you need. This is your first person in your life that you need to make you feel like you're important. That's your mother. She's the first one. You need her to feel like you matter enough to put your head to her breast. A lot of you don't even get breastfed. You were never breastfed. Why? You weren't important enough. She didn't want her. I've heard women not breastfeed enough because they didn't want to mess up their shirts. Have you heard that before? Oh, I've heard that. I said, why didn't you breastfeed? I didn't want to be leaking all day while I'm in school. Then I'd be leaking and my shirts would get messed up. Oh, I've heard that. Forget about it. Here's the ubiquitous one. Why aren't you breastfeeding? No milk will come out. How much did you try? I tried about the first 10 minutes after the baby was born. No milk came out. I went straight to the Similac because no milk came out. Well, then, of course, then some white woman has to come into the hospital room and say, Could you please breastfeed your child? Which is embarrassing. They got some devil that has to come into every black woman's hospital room and say, I know if you keep trying, milk is the best milk for your child. Could you please keep trying? I know it's hard. The colostrum will come in when the baby is first born. You can't see it, but it's there. Inevitably, the black mother goes, it's too hard. Why? Because that Similac is sitting right there next to the bed. And so she ignores this white woman who cares more about that child, more, because she's not willing to suffer for that baby, even when it's this big. Hold your point. She's not willing to suffer for her or him at all. Well, then that you just let that steamroll. Now you're 5 years old. She's not willing to go through. She's mad at your father. She's not waiting until you go to bed to argue. You're going to hear about how small your father's penis is right now, tonight. You're going to hear it. You're going to hear about what he did and all kinds of sexual things. Sexual things, I mean, all kinds of stuff. You're going to hear at such a young age. You can't even make me do this. You don't even get hard. You're going to hear that out your mother's mouth. Right. Which, of course, then destroys your mind, twists your whole basis of life, and sexualizes you at too young of age, makes you feel like you're nothing because your father's nothing and your mother's nothing, so clearly you're nothing. And then you're expected to go out and start a family. Lord be with you. Anything else? Please. Next question.
Brother wanted a breakdown of Ephesians 5 and 4. This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 4. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks.
Give me 2 verses above it, please.
Book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 2. So I'm going to start at verse 1, sir. Be ye therefore followers of God as dear children, and walk in love as Christ also hath loved us, and hath given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling Savior.
You get that, right? Do I need to break that down? Read it one more time.
So Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 2. And walk in love as Christ also hath loved us.
What does it mean to walk in love? What does that mean? What does the term walk mean? Give me that metaphorically. Go ahead. An action, right? You want to do the action of love. Love is an action, right? It's not, a thought. It's not a card on Valentine's Day. It's a real thing. It's a real action that you have to take. So you want to complete the task of love. What now? What is love? Keeping the commandments. Find that and give him a hand. That's what it is. You got it. 2 John 1 and 6. Read that, please.
2 John chapter 1 verse 6.
Say your diet, take it. Go ahead.
Oh, no,
say it. You don't have it. Slaki, go ahead.
2 John chapter 1 verse 6. And this is love, that we walk after his commandments.
And that's what love is, everyone. This is love, that we what after his commandments?
That we walk.
That we what?
That we walk.
That we what?
That we walk.
Everybody connected the dots already, right? That we walk after his commandments. Walk in love, meaning do it. Breastfeed your damn child. Right. Do it. Let your nipples hurt and suffer and bleed. Do it. Suffer it. Stay, if you have a husband who is good to the child, but he has other women, stay with him. Make the sacrifice for the child. If your wife gets on your damn nerves because she talks too much, stay with her. It's better for the child. Sacrifice. That's how you walk in love. You keep the commandments for your wife, for your husband, for the children. Right? Don't eat pork, don't eat shrimp. Don't push your child into the door of some stranger to get candy. That's not how you walk in love for your child. Don't do that. You want to operate like you love people, which means you keep the commandments for one another. Go ahead. Is that it? Done. Next question. Any questions in the room? online. Let me get one online. Go ahead.
Here's a question, was it Ephesians 5 and 4?
Go ahead. Ephesians 5 and 4. Someone read it.
Go
ahead.
Can I read verse 3 first?
Come.
But fornication and all uncleanliness and covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becometh saints.
Is that his question? Or that's not his question, correct?
This question is enforced.
You said fornication, right? What is fornication? Go ahead. Unlawful sex or idolatry. I'll take those two perfect answers. Give both of them a hand. Right? When you worship any other god, that's spiritual adultery against the Lord your God, because you're only allowed to have one God. When a woman has sex with any man who is not her man, she now has committed adultery against her one Lord, her husband. When you as a man go out and have sex with a woman who has a Lord, who has a husband, now you have committed adultery. You understand? So that's the two forms of adultery. Either fornication, the two forms of fornication, which are adultery. I'm going to get into adultery. Let me give you the other fornications. Any unlawful sex. Bestiality. That's not one they talk about much anymore. Back in the day, a sheep was in bad shape on some of these farms. A sheep went through a rough situation out there. I hope has wound down. I hope they're not doing that anymore like they used to be. A chicken wasn't in much better shape either. Chicken, sheep, they had a rough time up there, all right? That's unlawful. Okay, the Greeks loved doing things like that, especially with horses. The Greeks loved that, right? With prostitutes and horses. You can go read about that if you want to throw up. What else? Homosexuality. Homosexuality, the LGBTQ community, which is being violently pushed on children right now by using rainbows. And some of you old enough, I remember when a rainbow had nothing to do with gay people. I remember that. It was not gay at all in any way. It's like a recent, I'm going to say it's 30 years, 20 years. But when I was a kid, a rainbow did not have nothing to do with gay people. Now, everything, if you see a rainbow, you're going to think gay, because that is how gay people multiply. Right? Two gay people can't make a baby, but they can damn sure train yours. Do you understand? That they can do. And they do it by showing your baby rainbows and everything beautiful and gay people. And so now if you like rainbows, you'll like gay people. That's how they procreate, which is what everything wants to do, make more of itself. All right? It's natural. It's natural. Homosexuality, however, is unnatural. All right? And it's fornication. That's unlawful sex. You die.
If I could, sir, you bring out it just so heavy too, especially, with the rainbow and homosexuality. Mm-hmm. Just recently, I was looking at old, classic Allen Iverson jersey. I was looking at this one that I like, but the problem is in the early 90s and late 90s, the Denver Nuggets, some of us may remember, they had the rainbow on their jersey.
I remember.
And I was like, damn, I said, if I get this AI jersey, even though it's a jersey, it got this rainbow. Yeah. But back then, it had nothing to do with homosexuality. People going to be looking at me side.
Yeah. It's a ridiculous. I saw a rainbow in my daughter's room, and I said, "What the F is this?" I said, "Wait a minute, she's a girl." I had to catch myself. I literally said, "What the F is this?" I said, "Oh, wait a minute, she's a girl. She like rainbows. Dang, leave it up. It's all right. Leave the rainbow. It's me. I'm going crazy now. You got me crazy." It's kids like rainbows. Kids are allowed to like rainbows. And rainbows are good. Right? They're in the sky. They're pretty to look at. They're nice. Rainbows are nice. And little girls should like rainbows. But it's wrong for someone to use the fact that your little girl likes rainbows to try to procreate people like themselves. That's wrong. All right, go ahead.
Like I said, if I could, now I remember reading Rainbow, back in the day.
Give him a hand. How did I forget that? Come on now. That brother was trying to teach you how to read. That brother was trying to put something in that head of yours, man. Now look at it. Come on, let's go. Let's move on. Go ahead,
I know we always bring this up, but it's so heavy because it's like they push that on the kids, and then they push the drugs the same way, because now everything got some sweet flavor or it's candy. Or
There you go.
So
There
when
you
you're
go.
14 and you like, well, I look up to this rapper and he smoked this, and the name of it is Runts. It's named after some type of candy. Like
What's the name of it?
Runts.
Runts? Oh, a runt, like a little kid is a runt, right?
Yeah, they got candy called Runts too.
Oh, snap. I remember a runt was like a little bad kid. He was called a runt back in the day. Well, they want your kids to get high. It don't look so well for you at that concert, though. It look like maybe you should chill with the getting high. But that's just my opinion. All right, where we at now?
Verse 4, sir.
Go ahead.
Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks.
Not filthiness, you know what that is, to speak about breaking the commandments, right? Like most of your music is filthy. It's filthy because it's teaching you to break the commandments. And although some of you might have enough sense not to do it, but other ones will confirm that they should do it. And which is why it's marketed to children. Because of course a child has not made up his mind yet about who he is or who she is. And so she's getting influences from everything. And she's trying to decide. But then someone who looks just like her or him is saying you should get high. And then they're like, good, now I know what I should do. And then they get high. That's disgusting. It's filthy to speak about drug addiction as if it's a good thing, which I can't even believe. I can see why white people do that. But how black people even talk about drug addiction as if it's a good thing, when that's why you didn't have your father, is still amazing to me. Keep going. Filthiness, go ahead.
Sir. Nor foolish talking.
Foolish talking, same thing. 1 second, keep going.
Nor jesting.
Nor jesting. What is jesting? Joking too damn much. Playing too damn much. And that's a problem with a ton of brothers who smoke weed. You don't know how to stop playing all the goddamn time until somebody smacks you in your goddamn mouth. Not that I'm going to do that. But you make someone want to smack you in your goddamn mouth. Because you play too much. You don't know how to get serious. You can't man up on a situation because you're constantly joking and playing all the time. A perpetual child. Keep going.
Sir. Which are not convenient.
Which are not convenient, meaning what? These things are not good for you, right? These things won't expediently help you go through your life and make better decisions. It's inconvenient. It's taking away time, taking away focus. Keep going.
But rather giving of thanks.
Rather, what you should be doing is giving thanks. Thanking the Most High that he's trying to teach you something. Where's the question at?
That was it, sir.
Was that it? Good. Anything else? Go ahead.
Brother wanted to break down Galatians 3:28, where it says there is no Jew or Greek.
Go ahead.
Galatians chapter 3 verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek.
Keep going.
There is neither bond nor free.
Let's keep going.
There is neither male nor female.
Keep
For
going.
you are all one in Christ Jesus.
You are all one. Let's start from the back. There is neither male nor female. Why is it? Why? Meaning, I'm gonna give you what it means. It means it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. There's no separate kingdom of heaven for women. There's no separate kingdom of heaven for men. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. You're all one because all of you are in one nation. That's something that a lot of people are learning now who were fooled by the feminist movement of the past. The so-called white women used black women to be the mule to push the white woman's feminist agenda forward. Now, you cannot turn on TV without seeing a white woman being the star of everything. There is not a thing where a white woman is not the number one super, most powerful, strongest, mightiest superhero that ever existed. Well, that's because black women were the mules that pushed the feminist agenda forward and helped white women to conquer white men in Hollywood and in business. And she won. And so now you really can't do anything without making a white woman a god. You want to do something, you better factor in white women and make sure that she is the hero. Make sure she has the knockout punch at the end. Make sure she defeats a 400-pound giant with her mighty 120-pound punch. She has to do it. While you as a black woman will sit there like, get him, Sarah. Listen, I saw a woman, I was not going to bring this up, but God damn it, it made me so angry. This is why, me personally, I never watch a movie with a black person in it, ever. That's my personal rule that I break too much. I broke it recently, and I watched some movie with my kids. What was the name of this movie with Little Rel, brother? Oh my God, it was so terrible. It had Little Rel in it. It was about video games. No one saw it. Good. It was called Free Guy. Don't ever watch it. Lord, listen, brother. I was mortified, hiding my face through the movie at Little Rel in this movie. While this white man is just having Little Rel's like Little Rel was like a puppy. That's the best way I could describe it, is a puppy. Well, black women, you help white women to take that seat in white society. So now you can be her puppy that's just happy for her success and happy that she's making it. You go on, girl. I want to see you do it, girl. She says, what's the black woman's name? Oh, Taisha. I just don't think I can do it. I mean, I'm losing confidence. I just don't know about you. Come here. You can do anything you put your mind to. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. You're the best, and I love you, Taisha. And then she goes, you're right, Taisha. I can do it. Listen, I'm not watching any more movies. I cannot do that. I have to go to the gym. I cannot watch movies because I'm going to lose my mind. Go ahead.
When that devil killed their brother, they was in court rubbing their hair and hugging her and loving on her and all.
That's why,
being mad that she killed one of your people. Like
Listen,
that.
they're trained to do that up. They're trained to do that. And I always wonder, if you can give this white woman so much confidence to achieve her goals, why don't you just go do it? Why are you teaching this white woman to go be the best she can be? Why don't you beat her for the job? Since you have all of the answers and you give her so much inspiration and moral support, I got to move on. The point is, the feminist movement used black women to engine them overcoming in the corporate world and in Hollywood. All right? Give me the precept again.
Counsel. Galatians chapter 3 and verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek.
Right. The kingdom of heaven is for both of us, men and women, because we're both in hell. Why? Because we're the same race. We're the same nation. We're all Israelites. So it's not for women Israelites or men Israelites. It's for all of us because we're all here suffering together. There's no battle of the sexes in the black and Hispanic community. If you think there's one, you're stupid, because they'll use black women the same way they use black men. They'll use Hispanic men the same way they use Hispanic women. We're one in this battle because we're going to rise or fall together. We're the same. Keep going. Now, in the reverse order. Bond or free.
Bond or free.
What does it mean, bond or free? There's no separate kingdom of heaven for the free or for the bond. What's the bond? The bond is speaking about a slave. There are some Israelites who are slaves, some Israelites who are free. It's been that way since the beginning, since the core of slavery here in America. Not every black person was in slavery in America. There were tons of black people who were not in slavery. They lived in the North, or escaped from the North and escaped from the South and went to the North, or were just born in the North, or were just freed in the South because they had some talent that was so amazing, like Benjamin Banneker, or like Blind Willie, who was a piano player in the South who was freed and given his own money because he played the piano so damn well. And he was just let go and free and made money, and that was that, right? He was blessed, gifted. Because of that, he was free. Then there's other people who are slaves because they don't have the gifts that other person has. Well, in Israel, they're the same because we're all in the same nation. Even though you're a slave and I'm free, or I'm free and you're a slave, we're still the same. We will still suffer or prosper together. Keep going.
Jew nor Greek.
And there is neither Jew nor Greek. Now, look back at everything I explained earlier. Why would Jew or Greek be here with male or female, which are in the same nation? Oh, definitely can be in the same nation if you at least can accept that. And bond or free can be in the same nation as well. Now, Jew or Greek. Now, in your mind, a Jew is a totally different nation than a Greek, is it not? In the mind of people in the world, those are two separate races. Well, how would this fit in with bond or free or male or female? Because a Jew and a Greek are the same. They're one. Just like Black and Hispanic women and men are the same. Just like free Black and Hispanic women and enslaved Black and Hispanic women are the same. Jews and Greeks are the same. A Jew is a brother or a sister who knows the commandments of God, who has been raised to keep those commandments. A Greek is a Jew who has been living far from their own culture and now has taken on the culture of another people. But they're both the same, or else explain the rest of them. Those are definitely all the same. Men and women, same race. Jew and bond and free are jobs. It's not even a race at all. That's occupation. One is free, the other one enslaved, right? Like the people up north were free, the Black people in the South were enslaved. They're the same. Then the Jew and the Greek must be the same as well. They're the same. Right now, you and I living in America, before we found the truth, we were Greeks. We were African Americans. We were Mexicans. We were Guatemalans, Haitians. We were not Israelites, but we actually were. We were not Israelites in our customs and how we lived our lives. But really, we're the same as Jews. This scripture proves that Jews and Greeks are the same. It's saying it. I'm going to read it from the top now. I went in the reverse order. Now I'm going to read it from the top, and it's going to say it. Yediah.
Galatians chapter 3 and verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. For ye all are one.
All are what?
For ye are all one.
Men and women are what?
Are ye all?
Men and women are one.
In Christ Jesus.
Bond and free are one. Jew and Greek are one. We're the same. There is no difference between a Jew and a Greek at all, because a Greek is a Jew. They're the same. They just think they're Greeks because they lived in Galatia or Thessalonica or Ephesus. But they're really Jews just living in a strange land, the same way you thought you were African American or thought you were American at one time, calling George Washington your founding father, which is ridiculous. But you're really a Jew. Everybody understands, all right? Next.
Brother says, Salakia, sir. Can you break down Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and verse 2 through 4?
Go ahead.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39, and verse 2. He will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also.
2 verses above it.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus.
Also, before I forget, also to back up that precept, you're going to need to look up Hellenist in your Bible dictionary. You know that.
I have it.
Read that for me if you don't mind.
Sir. This is the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary.
Also, someone else, give me how many people died celebrating Halloween. I think they'll have the numbers for 2019. Also, give me how many people died because of hit and runs. Kids getting hit by cars. That should go up about 42% Halloween night. If you can give me an actual number, I'll take that, all right? Go ahead.
This is the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. page 223. Hellenists, Jews who made Greek their tongue.
That's what you need for your breakdown. That's in the Bible dictionary. Of course, we didn't write or publish that. That's written by scholars, right, who know what a Greek is in the Bible, right? These were Jews who made Greek their language, which is why Paul is saying Jews and Greeks are one, because they're the same people, right? A Jew is a Greek in the Bible, in the New Testament. A Jew is a Greek, all right? That's all you need. Good to go. Next. What do you have? Go ahead, officer up front. Please, go ahead. If you got that stat for me, I'll still walk. Just hang on to it, all right?
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus.
Also, give me Jerry Heller. Give me Jerry Heller. And give me The Who. The Who had a very similar incident that Travis Scott had back in '79, I believe. The rock group The Who. Jerry Heller was their promoter back then. Go ahead.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, 39, verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancients.
You get that? Meaning, what does it mean to meditate on something? To think about something. If you're thinking about the law, if you're studying, then you will do what? Read that last part.
Will seek out the wisdom of all the ancients.
Then you'll seek out the wisdom of all of the ancients. That's why we have that Bible right there, written by men who lived thousands of years ago. And we seek out their wisdom and learn from Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Paul, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, right? Because we care about the Most High's law and we want to learn it so we can be better at the performance of it, better at completing it. Keep going.
And be occupied in the prophecies.
And be occupied in the prophecies. Studying the Bible, studying the prophecies, so we can know when they happen, so we can recognize them. Keep going.
Verse 2. He will keep the sayings of the renowned men.
He will keep the sayings of the renowned men. We have renowned men that are dead and renowned men that are alive. Many renowned men that are dead, like Isaiah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and renowned men that are alive, like Commanding General Yohanan. You want to listen to those men of renown, men who are famous for living out this book, for living out the commandments of God. And you want to learn to be like them. Keep going.
And where subtle parables are.
Subtle parable. What is a subtle parable? To be subtle or subtle. It's a parable that you can't quite understand. Its meaning is hidden. It's not in your face. It's a hidden meaning. You don't quite understand it. You don't quite get it. Well, there's a way. If you want to learn it, there's a way to learn. Keep going.
He will be there also.
Yeah, if you go to these famous men like Commanding General Yohanan, you could learn the secrets in the Bible, the things that people don't know. Most people, even Christians, know that it's unlawful to eat pork. That's not subtle. It says you can't eat swine. It's right there in the Bible. They don't do it, but they know it's there. It's also in the Bible that Jesus is black. Even if you hate the fact that it's in the Bible, you know it's in the Bible. It's not subtle. But then there are other things in the Bible that are very subtle. Things that you can't quite get. But if you could get them, they could unlock something in you that would allow you to become something immortal. If you could do it. Well, the only way to do that is to go to a man like Commanding General Yohanan and learn. But everybody understands. That's it. Go ahead.
Oh God. Verse 3. He will seek out the secrets of grave sentences.
Seek out the secret of gray what?
Sentences.
Gray sentences. Not black or white, but something gray. You can't quite make it out. You can't quite understand. Where's the question at?
The question is in Ecclesiasticus.
What verse? Go ahead.
4.
What verse are we in now?
3.
Where's the question?
In verses 2 through 4.
Okay, we're almost done, right? Go ahead in the back.
So like the phrase was grave, G-R.
Salakia. Grave sentences means a serious sentence. That's what grave means, a serious sentence. Keep going.
And be conversant in dark parables.
Same thing. Be conversing means you're able to converse. You're able to have a conversation about a dark parable, meaning something that is hard to see, something that most people won't get. All right, which is what Commander General Yohana taught us, which is what you can't get outside of the UPK.
Right.
The Bible is a mystery to anyone outside of these walls. Now, if you don't believe it, you could come by a camp one day or invite your pastor or whoever you think is knowledgeable in God, whoever you met on the chat room and you think they can come down to the camp and confound us, then they should do it. All right, we got open doors at all of our classes. They should just walk into a door, raise their hand, and show us how smart they are. They should do that. All right. Moving on. Any other questions? In the back.
Yes, sir. For me, Jim, I had a question about transportation and on the kingdom. Like, of course, I know a while back you brought out how in the kingdom there won't be no airplanes or cars because you know Esau traded those days for war. So I wanted to know, like, in the kingdom, will we be more going back to like horses, you know, or boats? I was trying to understand like the other transportation, like as far as traveling in the kingdom.
I understand. Well, there's no precept that says how people will mass travel in the kingdom of heaven. But I will give you this from understanding the Bible. You know, right now you have horses travel right now. Right now, right downtown, you can ride a horse. You can get your woman, get on the back of some horse, take her out about $100. You can take her all around the park on a horse. There are a lot of people that drive horses right now, like candles. We have electricity, but candles are still sold today. They're not sold as a light source anymore, but they're sold just for the ambiance. So horses and candles still exist today, even though most people use electricity and cars, correct? Well, in the Bible, you have horses, and a lot of people, when the kingdom of heaven comes, can still ride horses. You might want to ride a horse. I know I would. I want to ride a giant horse that could fit me on his back. A giant horse, a big horse, I'll like that. But there's other kinds of transportation in the Bible as well. And it's not planes, and it's not cars. Give me some transportation in the Bible. Let's see who gets this one right. Ahmad.
Yeah, chariots, sir.
Well, that's one. Give him a hand. That's transportation, which ain't a plane. It's a spaceship. A spaceship with a crystal dome over your head. A spaceship. That's in the Bible. That's not a plane, but it's in the Bible. So in the kingdom of heaven, we could have horses. We could have spaceships. Give me another form of transportation in the Bible. I know you wasn't going to get this one. Hold on. Ashtawak.
I'm not sure if it was when Daniel was in the lion's den. I think didn't the angel move him? Like move the other brother to get him food?
I said it was transportation. I said that on purpose, as I say all things. Transportation. Go ahead. Well, you'll definitely could have that in the kingdom of heaven for sure. And flying saucers, right? And spaceships.
Walking.
And walking. Give her a hand. That's correct. Give me another one. Now, I'm going to need the precept now for time's sake. Look up, carried away. That's all I need. Carried away. Look up in that. Look for it in Isaiah or in the New Testament. Carried away. That's why I on purpose used the word transportation.
Right.
But I need the precept now because you didn't get carried away. I need the precept. Are you going to tell me the precept? Oh, then you got to wait then. Or find the precept. Carried away. Let me help you out, brother. Bibbidi. The one you need to walk is Halloween is the deadliest day of the year for child pedestrians. You can find that. Anyone else, just get me carried away so I can move on.
So you want me to read it now?
Yeah, what you got?
This says bestplaces.net.
Oh, no, not that. I need to carry away now.
Oh, stop. Revelation.
Let me hear that.
17:3 out.
Oh, close. Revelation chapter 17, verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Also, you want to get in Isaiah, where he was carried away up into a tall mountain by his braid. Isaiah got carried away. This is right here. This is John getting carried away. Go ahead.
Try using Ezekiel or the Lord.
Read it.
Book of Ezekiel, chapter 37 and verse 1. The hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord and set me down in the midst of the valley which full of bones.
Right now in America, where the white man is in charge, if you want, you could walk somewhere. You could ride a horse somewhere right now. You could drive a car, and you could fly in a plane, right? Then there's another craft they just invented that can take you up into the lower levels of the atmosphere or the upper levels of the atmosphere for a few seconds. In the kingdom of heaven, you'll be able to walk, ride a horse, drive a flying saucer, or just go there in your mind. That's in the Bible. Where you're in your house and all of a sudden you're on a mountain. Now that's technology. That's real technology. The white man flies you in a plane or flies you to space. He thinks he's, God. In the Bible, brother, the Lord just takes you as you're sitting right here, and then you're in Babylon. Or you're sitting right here, and then now you're on a mountaintop. Just with thought. I've always had this vision about the kingdom of heaven, that I'll own slaves, and there'll be like a slave revolt. And I'll appear in brimstone smoke, and they'll smell it. And from smelling the smoke, everybody will just start crying because they'll know I just appeared in the room. That's something you could do in the kingdom. It's here in the Bible, where the Lord just takes you and you just show up somewhere. You just poof, the Lord takes you and you're right there. It's like, what do they call that in science fiction movies? I forget the name of it. Go ahead. Teleport. That's in the Bible, where the Lord carried you away, put you here, carried you there, and you're in Babylon now. And now everyone knows when you get there that there is hell to pay. Everybody understands. Go ahead.
If I could, that's what I was talking about from Bill and the Dragon, when the angel took Alec
Yes, that you said the wrong thing earlier, but that's what you should have said. That's correct. That's exactly what happened. Go ahead.
If I could, sir, Esau made a movie about that. It was about these 4 or 5 devils that could do that. One brother, I think it was called Jumper.
There you go. I saw that as well. That didn't anger me, which is probably because there was no black people in it. Were there? Okay, well, I can stomach him. Listen, that's in the Bible. There are so many precepts. You've read them 1,000 times, where somebody is just carried away in the spirit. Poof, gone. So in the kingdom, yes. How will our transportation be? Similar ones to today with horses, unsimilar ones which are chariots of God, and then just thought. Just straight up, the Lord wants you there, and you appeared there, and that's that. Everybody understands. Next question. Let me get right here.
This is a question that I had. I was talking about yesterday, and back in the days, right? Did we wear like pants? Like what was that?
Explain.
Pants.
Like pants like we wear today. Absolutely. We absolutely wore pants like we wear today. Pants are very old. It's a very old thing. They had a different name. They were first called pantaloons. Breeches is another term they would use a long time ago. but pants are extremely old. Old is the Bible. That correct. Good to go. Next, you got your head up.
Did you want the hoop?
Give me the who, right? So tell someone to give me the who. What time are we ending now here, Maya? Now or a few minutes? Okay, we'll wrap it up now then. With that, pass the class over to Police Officer Danielle.
ISUPK security announcement. We at ISUPK started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of General Yohana. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They have to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. And for 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi chapter 2, verse 8 and 10. Means 10 in Hebrew. My Asherah, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord give you. Give to the treasury department. Priest fund, food will offer for priests. Not mandatory. Whatever amount you would like, become a holy convocation. The feast of dedication, which is Hakanah, and that's November 28th. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start to wear all black, like boot, shirt, pants, apron, or scarf, and with that, imajim, which means stand. Men of Israel, we're going to do one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Mam Shabbat, imajim, Barak, Yajmatah, Sar, turn to face the sisters, imajim, which means stand. Men of Israel, sisters, make sure the right hand is over your left. Men of Israel, we're going to get the sisters one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amam Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shema, Amashim Yahushua. Yajmatah, class dismissed.